Welcome to my Learn English YouTube channel. Before we begin today's session, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more valuable content like this.
Okay, so fluency in English. It's a dream for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
But it can be a little intimidating to even think about. What if there was like a cheat code? Like, what if AI could help? We've got this really cool YouTube video for our deep dive today. It's by Ankur Wariku, and it's about how somebody got ChatGPT to design a whole English learning program. The goal, fluency in just 30 days.
What's really fascinating is this whole concept of AI acting as a personal tutor, sort of streamlining the learning process, accelerating it almost. It really highlights how these new AI tools can work hand in hand with more traditional learning.
Exactly. And this program doesn't just throw you into the deep end. It starts off actually with ChatGPT recommending a placement test.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you see a doctor. They need to diagnose you before they give you any treatment, right? Placement tests, things like the Cambridge English Placement Test or the EF Standard English Test, they can really give you a clear picture of where you stand, where you're strong, where you need to improve. That way you're focusing your energy in the right places.
And in the video, the users specifically wanted to improve their pronunciation. So how did ChatGPT approach that?
Well, it all starts with the basics. Vocabulary, and grammar. ChatGPT recommends for the first 5 days activities like reading short articles, maybe watching some English news or TV, with subtitles on. But the key is to not just passively consume this stuff. You have to really engage with it.
Okay, so how do you actually make it active? I mean, aside from just watching Netflix?
Think about taking notes, right? Or looking up any new words, even trying to summarize what you just learned. And here's a really cool twist. ChatGPT actually recommends using the chatbot itself for conversation practice. So you've got a built-in speaking partner.
That's pretty smart, actually, using the technology to practice.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the actual pronunciation training. Did ChatGPT recommend any specific exercises for that?
Oh, absolutely. Days 1 through 5, the focus is on getting your ears and your mouth working together. You listen to recordings of native speakers, focusing on sounds you find tricky. Then you try saying those same words, you record yourself and compare.
Okay, that makes sense. But isn't there a chance you could end up reinforcing, the pronunciation mistakes you already have if you're practicing on your own?
Well, that's where minimal pairs come in. They're these word pairs with just one sound different, like ship and sheep or bit and bet. By practicing those pairs, you isolate those little sound differences that can trip people up.
It's like the difference puzzles, but for your ears.
Yeah.
And the video actually mentioned resources like English Central and Phonetics Focus, which have exercises specifically for this. So you're not completely on your own.
Exactly. And then, building on that foundation, days 6 to 10 go deeper into pronunciation. ChatGPT actually recommends learning the International Phonetic Alphabet.
Okay, so full disclosure, the IPA has always seemed a little intimidating to me. Like, isn't that just for, serious linguists? Is it really necessary for everyday language learning?
Think of it like musical notation, but for sounds. Each symbol represents a specific sound, no matter what the language is. So once you understand the IPA, you can basically read how to pronounce any word, even if you've never seen it before.
That takes all the guesswork out. You're not stuck with tricky spellings or trying to imitate sounds without really knowing how to make them.
Right. And if you're interested in diving deeper into the IPA, the International Phonetic Association is a great resource. But it's not all just technical stuff. ChatGPT's 30-day plan recognizes that learning has to be fun if you want to stick with it.
That's what I'm really interested in. How does ChatGPT make things more enjoyable?
Well, it starts with gamification. Using apps like Duolingo and Memrise, which turn language learning into a game. You earn points, you level up, you compete with friends. It taps into our love of playing and makes learning feel rewarding.
Those apps are pretty clever, but I guess there are other ways to make it fun, too, beyond just using apps.
Absolutely. The video talks about immersing yourself in English culture. So watching movies, TV shows, reading books, listening to music. Anything that exposes you to the language in a way that feels natural and fun. There's actually an anecdote in the video about a child who learned a British accent just from watching Peppa Pig.
Wow, talk about commitment. But it shows you how powerful immersion can be, especially when you're enjoying the content.
Exactly. And ChatGPT encourages you to be creative with your practice. You can write stories, make videos, even draw pictures inspired by English words. The idea is to make the language your own.
So you're not just passively absorbing information. You're actively using it in a way that's meaningful to you. But let's face it, staying motivated is a big thing. Did ChatGPT offer any tips on how to keep the momentum going, especially over a longer period?
In the video, the user actually asked ChatGPT to extend the program to 90 days, so a deeper dive into mastery.
So they're really in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
What did ChatGPT suggest for maintaining that kind of commitment over 3 months?
Well, the emphasis is on consistency. Even just 15-20 minutes every day can add up over time. It's about building a habit of using the language daily. And this is where we start to see the real potential of personalized learning.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How does ChatGPT go beyond just giving you activities and actually personalize the learning experience?
So imagine, you've got a busy schedule with work and other commitments. You can tell ChatGPT what your schedule's like, and it'll come up with a plan that fits into your life. In the video, the user asked ChatGPT to create a routine around their busy workday.
Did it work?
It did. ChatGPT suggested things like listening to podcasts during their commute, doing some vocabulary practice during lunch breaks, even watching an English movie in the evening for some fun immersion. It's like having a personal assistant for your language learning. It really shows you how AI can help with the time issue. A lot of people say they don't have time to learn a language. You don't need big chunks of time. Just work it into what you're already doing.
Like squeezing in a workout, right? You don't need a 2-hour gym session, just little bits here and there. This ChatGPT program, though, it sounds almost too good to be true. Were there any parts of it you weren't so sure about, maybe even a little problematic?
That's a really good point. AI's got amazing potential, but we can't just accept everything it tells us, right? We have to think critically about these tools. One thing that comes to mind is the risk of relying too much on technology.
So are we in danger of losing that human element of language learning? Are we going to end up just talking to chatbots instead of real people?
Well, I think there needs to be a balance. AI can definitely give you personalized instruction and practice, but it can't replace actually talking with people. Learning a language isn't just about memorizing words and rules. It's about connecting with other cultures, getting the nuances, expressing yourself.
It reminds me of learning French in school. I mean, a lot of what I learned came from those kind of awkward conversations with classmates, trying to put sentences together, laughing at our mistakes. Those were the moments that actually helped me understand the language.
Exactly. And those are the things AI, at least right now, can't really replicate. So ChatGPT's 30-day plan is really cool. It shows what AI can do for language learning, but it's only one part of the whole picture.
A tool, not a magic solution.
Exactly. And it's up to each learner to figure out how best to use these tools along with other resources and strategies. Speaking of strategies, I thought it was interesting how the video emphasized personalization.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before, like how you can tailor a learning schedule to your needs. But are there other ways to personalize it, even without using AI?
Well, it starts with figuring out your learning style. Are you a visual learner? Auditory? Do you learn best by doing things? Once you know how you learn best, you can find resources and techniques that work for you.
So if you're a visual learner, maybe you use flashcards or watch videos. And if you're auditory, maybe you listen to podcasts or music.
Right. And even beyond that, find content you're actually interested in. If you love cooking, read recipes in English. Watch cooking shows. If you're into history, watch documentaries or read books in English.
That makes so much sense. If you're learning about something you already like, you're going to stay more motivated. You're not just learning English, you're learning about something you enjoy.
Yeah. And don't forget about community. Finding other people learning English can give you support, motivation, and you can practice talking with them.
There are so many things out there. Online forums, language exchange groups, even just meeting up with people in person. It's about making a space for learning that's personal and supportive.
Now, even with the best resources and the best strategies, there's one thing that can really make or break your language learning: your mindset.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that. What kind of mindset do you need to be successful at learning a new language?
It's all about having a growth mindset. That means seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and seeing mistakes as part of the process.
So you turn those negative thoughts around. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, you say, I'm still learning, and that's okay.
Exactly. And celebrate the small victories. Did you learn a new word today? Did you have a short conversation in English? Those are all things to be proud of.
It's about recognizing how far you've come.
Yeah.
And giving yourself credit for the effort. Because, learning a language is tough.
Oh, it definitely can be. But with the right mindset, the right resources, and a little help from technology, it can also be a really amazing experience. Speaking of technology, though, I think we should talk about some of the downsides The potential challenges of using AI for language learning.
Yes. Let's talk about the possible pitfalls. What are some things to watch out for when we're using tools like ChatGPT to learn a language?
One concern is bias in AI models.
So, like, if the AI mostly learned from American English, maybe it wouldn't be so good at teaching, say, a British accent or British slang.
Exactly. It's really important to remember that. Don't think the AI knows everything perfectly or that it's always completely neutral.
So how do we avoid just blindly believing everything ChatGPT tells us,
Yeah.
especially with something as complex as language?
Well, the first thing is to remember, AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for, our own judgment. If ChatGPT says something that sounds a bit off or doesn't feel right, you can always check. Look at other resources, do a little research, maybe even ask a human teacher.
Needing a second opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And it brings us back to that idea of blending different approaches, using the strengths of AI, but also having the insights and guidance of a teacher can make the learning experience so much richer.
So it's not about choosing one or the other. It's more like they work better together.
Absolutely. And as AI keeps getting better, we'll probably see even more creative ways to use it for language learning, but that human element is crucial.
Because language is all about connection.
Right, exactly. AI can help you build the foundation, but it's by interacting with real people that you become truly fluent, you understand the culture, and you learn to use language in ways that are, real and meaningful.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. We've talked about how AI can be a really powerful tool for language learners, but also how important it is to connect with other people to find what works for you and have a positive attitude towards learning.
It's a really exciting time to be learning a language. There are so many resources available, from traditional methods to these cutting-edge AI tools. The possibilities are endless.
So to everyone listening, don't be intimidated by the thought of learning a new language. Take inspiration from that user in the video. Break down your goals into smaller steps. Figure out what works best for you. And don't be afraid to try new things.
And most importantly, have fun. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the challenges. Enjoy the rewards that come with opening up your world to new languages. Who knows, maybe you'll even pick up a British accent from Peppa Pig.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time with another exploration of exciting ideas and knowledge.